take it away.
So without further ado, let's go into the draft.
The draft begins.
So we're gonna be starting with, I believe, C7 on the Team A, and then Impunity on Team B.
Yep, Ciao 7 are on Team A, and they ban out the Lyra. We've seen a lot of Lyra emphasis in general, which is obviously most consistent healer throughout an elongated team fight. Imperial Sigil up an awful lot more often than Grace's Divine Intervention. So I wouldn't be surprised if Grace is banned away as well, because you don't want to give away the strong healer if they ban away the other one. But what do you think they might ban? They might go for someone like a Baron or maybe a Sky.
Yeah, I think Sky would be one of the not really smartest picks, but then I don't know, like even like we were talking about this a while ago, wherein not a lot of teams on other regions would first ban a Sky, but then it is because it's like a niche pick here for the Say region, although it's gonna be a Grace, so somewhat of the healer first ban here with the Lyra and the Grace.
Yeah, they don't want to let through. If one healer's been banned, you don't want to let the team get the other one. So you just want to ban it away, so they haven't really got a chance to out heal you. Even though Poison Shiv is a really good item, it's picked up on a lot of carries. It did get nerfed a little bit in patch 2.6, and so especially if you go a hero like Kestrel or Baron, you really don't want to have to pick up a Poison Shiv because their kit just doesn't synergize well with that at all. They don't get a lot of basic attacks in a team fight. It's more about burst on the basics you do get. So they're going to go for the Adagio. We haven't seen a lot of Adagio, but being the only healer left on the fold, it's not a bad decision. You know, you can't be out-healed by anyone because there's no other healers left. So there were a few counters to Adagio. Crawl is good. Glaive works very well because if you can stun Adagio out of his Divine Intervention, that's really effective. And that Glaive pick, as well as the Adagio, they're both good flexible picks. Glaive can be played either weapon power or as a captain. You can play him as a crystal power hero as well. That's not as favourable at the moment. And Adagio similarly can be captain or can be a crystal power laner. And a Vox band is pretty standard, so no one wants to give away what they want to play yet. Lots of flexible options for both teams.
I think a Baron might be banned out here for the second rotation.
Yeah, it might make sense to ban Baron. He's quite hard to counter. They're actually going to ban Idris, one of the Baron counters. We've seen a lot of emphasis on Idris. He's so strong at the moment. Generally weapon, obviously you can go crystal. People don't tend to prefer crystal Idris. He's a bit harder to play, and he takes a lot more time to do a lot of damage. Weapon Idris generally starts dealing a lot of damage around 2 items. That's his major power spike. They could go Baron here. Idris, there were still a couple of Baron counters left. The Black Feather's really good against him. We saw Crystal Wingo attempt to counter Baron. It's not easy to do. They're going to go for Samuel. You've noticed, you said earlier, we haven't seen a lot of Samuel in general. Do you think this is a smart pick to possibly force that Glaive as the carry or as weapon power lane?
Actually, I just like how the Samuel is more of the guy who can just kite into the games, kite into the fights, and this could be a good setup for the Glaive as well. Not really sure what's the matchup here against the Adagio, but this could be a good follow-up, maybe into an Arden. I don't know, because I've seen like a Glaive Arden combo, but I'm just curious if like they'll do that or go for at least something of someone in the back line, maybe a Celeste or a Scarf. That could be also interesting since that'll definitely outrange this Catherine and Adagio, but well, Ciao 7 gonna be going for the last pick.
So it looks like they might be going for a double crystal comp, or maybe we're going to see a weapon Adagio. I think we did see it once before. It's definitely off meta, weapon power Adagio. It doesn't synergize with his kit really at all, but he does do a lot of damage in the early game, so you really can emphasize that with a bit of weapon power.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to see this Glaive go to captain, and then they pick maybe they pick their own, as you said, their own Scarf to try and outrange the Celeste. So both teams could get double CP, but they're actually going to go for the Kestrel instead. Kestrel good as a weapon power hero that can keep on par with Adagio, can actually stay at the same range as him by just using glimmer shots instead of trying to basic attack necessarily to get all the farm. So I think that's a really good draft coming out from Impunity. I think the Glaive's great into Celeste, great into Adagio.
Yeah.
Kestrel should work well into Adagio as well, and Samuel v Celeste will be close, but it depends on who can land their poke
skill shots, yeah,
further away. Because Celeste is going to put a lot more zoning just leaving the Helios there, but it's generally easier for Samuel to land Malice and Verdicts than it is for Celeste to land Helios.
That's true. Also, I think there was one game from the last week matchup, the last week bracket, wherein there was this like late game matchup wherein I think the Kestrel was just using the active camo for
Yeah.
an in-your-face type of burst setup, which I think was with a glaive as well. So this could be what Impunity might be looking forward to as well. You know, like even if they don't have the best of early game to mid game, maybe they'll also at least have a stable late game to work with. I'm just thinking.
If you get the glaive afterburn into a Kestrel active camo, that's such an effective combination. It's hard to do. You don't generally get that every time because the glaive afterburn, you have to position it so well to get that trajectory to get them into an active camo trap. But if you can do it well, if you practice doing it with glaive Kestrel and you know how to do it, then you're gonna delete pretty much anyone. And if they get that onto the Celeste, that's even better because she has there's actually not a lot of mobility at all from Ciao 7. The Catherine's got a merciless pursuit, but that's about it. There's a lot more mobility. Glaive with the afterburn, Samuel with his Malice and Verdicts, and Kestrel with an active camo can get out of a situation if they get in a bad situation a lot easier. Whereas Adagio and Celeste both just have to use their boots, and that's all they can do. Or Adagio just disperses the judgment and tries to get you to run away instead of him having to run away. So I think that could be a really good thing for Impunity. They can disengage a lot better than Ciao 7 can.
That's true. There's a lot of kiting. I think I don't know if you can say this, but there's a lot of kiting potential as well for Impunity, and at the same time they have a really nice dive in with the glaive. So I'm just curious how it's gonna pan out.
Yeah, they can do it both ways. They can either try and run away, which isn't the best idea against the Celeste because she's good at poking you out from afar. But they could also just dive in with the glaive, and it looks like they're going to go for a 3-man invade. Celeste is coming back.
They go. There's going to be an afterburner from onto the RDC, and that's going to be the first blood for Impunity. Look at this. They're just starting off really aggressively onto Ciao 7, and Sin Monster has to back away. They're going to be spawning out the Celeste just here, but I think it's just going to be Impunity to steal out the jungle for the meantime. And wow, level 1.
Celeste about to pick up her trio, but
oh no.
Die.
Pays for their life, man.
I don't think that was worth it. You got the mid tree in Celeste, but you did actually die for it. And Celeste managing to get her 2 back camps because that's if you start them at level 1, as soon as they spawn, it's unlikely the enemy team are going to be able to get you in time. And Catherine actually did rotate to Impunity's backs, and he's taking a risky move to try and take this second camp. Simmons may actually die to a minion, but no, Simmons is going to just about survive. Home. Impunity not quite realising where she was, and that was good. That's good from Sin Monster, just not trying to fight. They knew they weren't going to win at level 1, especially against someone like a glaive. So Catherine just went, took the backs, and managed to get away as well.
Yeah, that was just really nice rotations coming in from Impunity. They already shot them up to, well, at least like 300 gold advantage, 2 kills as well. So, you know, earlier levels, denying the camp or denying the jungle early. This will shut down, I think, whatever C7 wants to actually set up for later on to this game.
Yeah, definitely. You want your Celeste to farm up as well as possible. She's quite good at clearing jungle camps. You can see she'll take this Elder Tree without much hassle at all. There's a siege going on in lane.
And it's going to be Impunity. Look at the damage from the Glimmer shots from Deft Q. They might actually go aggressive and dive into this one, but I mean, they do have the Adagio, so tons of heal all day long, keeping them topped off. Maybe just countering out this the Glimmer shot, but here comes the Merciless Pursuit from Sin Monster, and they're gonna go aggressive onto Def Q, forcing him to actually back down under his own turret. But still, no blood will be shed for the meantime. And Sin Monster still in the lane. Thought he was gonna go to the jungle. Actually, it's gonna be Mimia's Bay on the Celeste. Well, at least he's not being invaded.
After on Captain, she's gonna fall to the Samuel with power basic attack. That was just so much, in lane. But Celeste did manage to rotate to Kerchhoff's back while he was fighting up in lane. So Mimia's Bay obviously doesn't want Catherine to rotate down to the jungle. She wants Catherine to stay in lane so Celeste can get as many levels as possible.
Here goes Mimia's Bay. Drops down to Helio. Quarter block. Good damage onto the Afterburner, and that's going to be Mimia's Bay. Very low. And Deft Q, the damage from the Kestrel. Wow, just Impunity setting up. It was a really weird rotation from the Celeste.
Yeah, she boots towards the lane, seeing that Kerchhoff was quite low on the Samuel. The Samuel has so much inbuilt sustain, just when he gets his Drifting Dark down and does a couple of Malison Verdicts and his Empowered basic attacks, that you're not going to be able to burst the Samuel down that quickly. And then, of course, you've got a Glaive who could afterburn you out of position. Your Catherine wasn't with you to save you. Catherine was, I think she'd either died or ported home if she was too low. So, Mimia's Bay just had nothing to keep her alive on Celeste. But Celeste is still farming up really well. Is currently 16 CS ahead of Samuel and with a back rotation to clear. Obviously, Kershaws with 3 kills is probably, that's about even in terms of the amount of gold they both got. But that's really big for Celeste. If she can out-farm the enemy jungler in the early game, it's such an important power spike for her, so you can get them quicker. They've got quite that
power spike indeed, and they're gonna try to at least go for a little bit of chip damage under their own turret. Get that Quart of What though? Oh, he has to back away. Merciless Pursuit onto the Kestrel, but timing on the active camo won't make it connect. And here comes Kirchhoff onto the sidelines. Here goes Quart of What once more, and look at that pickoff from the Afterburners, following up on the Sin Monsters. Well, double kill for Impunity. Could they actually even hit for a triple as DRDC gets in a little bit too over-aggressive, looking in onto Kirchhoff. Gets the each heal, but he was just an inch away from this, literally almost being connected with a Glimmer Shot, and they might go for the dive. Quarter Ball looks so greedy into this one. Might be greedy, but
just gonna take the time.
Yeah.
Smart taking the objectives. Maybe he's taking us try and stop that port, but there's an active camo trap. Maybe he's not quite gonna walk into that active camo trap. A bit too smart for that, and that's really good for Impunity. They are obviously slightly behind on the farm on Kirchhoff's, but he's got 4 kills now, and they got the first target. So they are actually about 2k gold ahead. That's mainly down to Kirchhoff's rotating up the lane constantly just to keep pressure on this Adagio, try and either kill him or push him so far back that they can push the objective. And obviously DRDC trying to make the plays on Adagio, and it is a weapon power Adagio. We see the Soil Blade picked up from DRDC, so that's a big early game power spike.
And they're gonna try to get the catch off onto Kirchhoff's here, but well, he does have that Drifting Dark, you know, to just kite away with the Malison Verdict. What if Boss should be spawning out Sin Monster right here, and DefQ might be in a bad position, although he still has the active camo, so he will be able to get away, but that might leave Quarterbot to dry out here. You see Kirchhoff setting it up. Look at the damage from DefQ once more, and that's gonna be a Solar Storm to actually miss. It's not gonna hit his mark, and Mimia's Bay is not in the range of his base. He's gonna try to run away. The Flare will spot him out, and this is gonna be a little bit of a Clown Fiesta, looking to just chip around. 1 shot, 1 kill, and an ace. The late ace for Impunity.
The late, 3 kills going over to Impunity. Celeste managing to stop the ace buff coming through. So they allowed Sin Monster to respawn, but DefQ has so much damage on this weapon power Kestrel. It's so much stronger than weapon power Adagio, because obviously Adagio has his basic attacks, which do a lot of damage on weapon power. DefQ can almost
DefQ! Oh.
He's just going to survive on a slither of hell.
I was kind of scared because he was like recalling right beside the brush wherein I think Sin Monster was.
Sin Monster didn't think he'd be that greedy to port home there, so didn't check it. But greedy ports, I always like to see a greedy port. I do it all the time myself. Just start porting home, they won't catch you, you'll be fine. But yeah, DefQ just has so much more damage than this Adagio, with pretty much the same items. I think DefQ had an extra minion's foot on Adagio, that was it. Because he can basic attack, then Glimmer Shot, and then another basic attack, Glimmer Shot again, he can burst down Adagio so quickly, even though Adagio has tier 1 defense and Kestrel has nothing. And there's a full tyrants for Kestrel, so that's a big power spike. I don't think, even though Celeste hit level 8, I don't think Ciao 7 wants to fight right now.
Yeah, they really don't. In Quarterball once more, he's just been so on point with those afterburners. Drifting Dark from Kirchhoff once again, just for a little bit of that poke potential from the backline. And look at the damage from his ace spot skill, just wrecking havoc into the front line. Quarterball is very low here, but still the chase is on. Kirchhoff and DefQ, look at the damage, oh! And that's gonna just pin you down. Mimia's Bay, very bad out of position. The Celeste will get taken down, and DRDC still pretty healthy with the Adagio, but Kirchhoff from the sidelines, from the brush, is actually dealing a good amount of damage. It's going to be a 2-for-1 trade, but DefQ did not expect DRDC to have at least that much damage, and, well, that's going to be the first kill for Ciao 7.
Yeah, that did go over to the LDC, doing a good trade onto Kestrel. Kestrel was mainly focusing the Catherine and the Celeste. Obviously waiting as soon as Catherine's Storm Guard was down. She couldn't reflect the damage coming from Kestrel, so Kestrel could just burst her down so quickly. Catherine with now picking up some armor, which is smart. I think Sim Monster shouldn't go for that. They should get a full metal jacket on this Kestrel. On Catherine against the Kestrel, and Catherine's going to go in.
A fight once more breaks out, drifting dark again, and there's gonna be a lot of heliogenesis here onto the brush, which might make Impunity go back a little bit. Look at that Solar Storm connecting onto DefQ, baiting out the heal from Coeur d'Ivoire with his items. And Kirchhoff's, he does have the heal, so he'll be able to at least stay in the front line for a little bit. Activates another drifting dark here, and the chase again once again is on DefQ from the sidelines, and they're just chipping it down onto Ciao 7. Oh my goodness, DefQ will be trading his life, but that should be an ace. But who's gonna win? Is it the Celeste with the long-range poke, or it's gonna be Kirchhoff's with his mid-range? Samuel drops down. I believe that was the ultimate, which is Oblivion, but it doesn't connect.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be a 2-4-2.
Yeah, Samuel was hoping that Celeste would be greedy on the edge of the bush, waiting for Samuel to be in a core collapse range. Celeste was smart, she backed off. They were both very low on energy, so it was both thinking, I could do like one engage, but then I'm run out of energy and you can kill me. So they both backed off. No one wanted to give over the ace. So that's not a lead for Impunity, not any more of a lead than they have. Obviously, only a 2-for-2 trade. Celeste has picked up a Frostburn and a Heavy Prism, working towards probably an Eve of Harvest, their second item. So that was a lot of damage on Mimia's Bay, mainly against the Kestrel, but it was also against Samuel. There's going to be
Alright, another fight here breaks out into the lane. It's going to be Coeur d'Ivoire caught out, but DRDC is a little bit too out of position there, and DefQ capitalizes. Man, so really bad positioning, or just mispositioning, will spell disaster for you. And the nice timing on the active camo will keep DefQ from the hands of that, well, Merciless Pursuit, and they get immediately punished. One shot, one kill onto Sin Monster. Uses the active Merciless Pursuit rather for that extra mobility, and he will be able to back away. But Impunity, you did say that they got a little bit evened out there, but that last team fight, man.
Yeah, they found two members of Ciao 7 in the jungle and saw DRDC in lane trying to do what he could, and that's going to be DefQ with low on energy, can't afford an active camo. Simonster don't think he knows, but hasn't got a Merciless Pursuit yet. Kestrel got that Soul Blade double Tyrant build, so much damage on those Glimmer shots. Kestrel generally not wanting to go a lot of attack speed because you just want pure damage on Glimmer shots, and obviously the cooldown of Glimmer shots does scale with attack speed, but their damage doesn't at all. And actually, Ciao 7 going to try and sneak a gold mine. I think DefQ will be able to see it. Who's going to steal this one away?
Coeur d'Ivoire's right there. Who can get the last hit? Oh! Bad Kestrel gets it. Slams it down with the Shatter... Or no, Last Tremor. There you go. And, well, he does get the silence for the meantime. Mortal Wounds onto Samuel. He won't be able to get the regeneration from that one. DefQ sidestep the Solar Storm. And the bleed onto Coeur d'Ivoire. He will be able to survive. DefQ as well.
Oh, just about Coeur d'Ivoire. Inagio burn was not quite enough. The health regeneration just saving Coeur d'Ivoire there. And
My God.
Yeah, Ciao 7 not quite playing that as well as they should have. They have a Celeste to try and secure gold mines, and they're up against the Kestrel, who's going to Glimmer Shot it. The Catherine should have been standing in the way of Kestrel, so the Glimmer Shot main damage hits Catherine, it doesn't hit the gold mine, and Celeste should have tried to secure it with Heliogenesis Supernova, but they just waited, they let Kestrel steal it, and that's a nice more gold going over to Impunity, and they managed to not die as well, which is very important.
Yeah. Gotta give a lot of props there to Coeur d'Ivoire. Even though he was on very low HP, he still, did the frontline role that he needed to at least let DefQ get that steal on the Kestrel. And now C7 actually gonna be playing on a very choke-heavy positioning, and they might actually take quite a bit of free damage, and that's gonna be the case. Coeur d'Ivoire seeing Sin Monster go very low, dives in, but at the same time, that is a Catherine, does have the Storm Guard for the tanking ability. Goes in once more with the Blast Tremor, gets a silence off, but pays with his life. Solar Storm as well to connect from Mimia's Bay, but the fight has actually passed its prime, and that's gonna be Impunity showing the better I guess, poking strat or poking showcase right now. But
Oh, Kestrel gets caught out. That's gonna be maybe gonna fall as well. Who's gonna get this one? Obviously, it's gonna be Adagio.
yeah, should be.
Wow, that's the first ace for Ciao 7. It really turned that fight around. It was all about who can poke better, and Kestrel's all right at that, but as weapon power really isn't anywhere near the same as Celeste and Samuel. So it just left them to poke each other out, and then Kestrel decided to rotate down, try and secure a 1v2 against Adagio and Celeste. But Celeste managed to get the stun off on DefQ. It wasn't blocked. His ace is still up. And so once DefQ was stunned up, he has no defense on Adagio. Adagio just belted through, and Celeste, even though you've got a full Aegis against Celeste, Celeste can still moat you down quite quickly.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, greed is not good. Goldminer is up once more, but I don't think he has much bounty to be contested with here by Impunity, although Kraken should be up in about 20 seconds. They might actually fight for that one while they're going for the poke game right now. Look at Malice and Verdict as well as the Glimmer shots connecting onto Sin Monster. They're looking onto Kerchops, and Kerchops does have the range, does have the ability to be able to run away from that danger zone. As C7 look to back away, they do have the Adagio for the heals here onto Sin Monster. So he should be able to top himself off for the meantime. Kraken has awakened, and Quart d'Ivoire is out of position, but not to worry. He has his afterburners for the mobility. And will Ciao 7 force a fight here on the Kraken area, while Impunity might be looking to push the lane?
This is the important team fight. Whoever wins this team fight gets a turret, probably gets a turret, and definitely gets a Kraken. The monster baiting out the one-shot one kill. He knew it was in that to gamma jump, I think, or maybe he didn't. No, there was no vision actually. So the monster actually wanted to port home, but there was an active gamma trap, so he was spotted out by the Kestrel. And there's some vision put down by Sim Monster. And that looks like Impunity, if they spot the port, they could get a Kraken. They didn't actually see anyone port home, so they're not going to be able to get the Kraken quickly.
I thought the flare was enough to spot them porting, but I guess not.
No, I don't think so. I think Adagio managed to port home just before the flare went out.
Alright.
So whoever wins this team fight pretty much turns the game in their favour. Ciao 7 obviously 2k behind. That could all
Sin
turn out
Monster
with a
is
team fight.
fearless. Look at how aggressive he is, just going in, and that's going to be Quart d'Ivoire baiting himself out onto Sin Monster, and Adagio, DRDC, kind of having a little bit of difficulty who actually target here. It's going to be the Kestrel, is it going to be the Samuel or the Glaive, and that actually puts him very low right now, and Active Camo will chase him, and DefQ shuts him down. Mimius Bay, even though he has full HP, this is a very, very squishy Celeste, although the Solar Storm breaks it down, and DefQ as well as Quart d'Ivoire super low in HP. DefQ, can he do it? Yes, he does!
DefQ.
And that's gonna be the ace, possibly even the Kraken as well, and oh my goodness, that was so close!
Well played, DefQ. So that's basically Solar Storm to secure the kill on Samuel, and almost picking up Kestrel by herself. Obviously, with that Eve of Harvest, just if you're a little bit low and you put a Solar Storm down and get massive damage on it, you're just going to have so much heal. Sin Monster's not going to get that. There's a Glaive, there's a Kestrel. He's worth a try. Obviously, you can reflect damage, but Sin Monster is going to be spotted and is in a bad position. There's the Stormguard trying to keep him alive. Oh, you can't get the anyway. If you haven't got your Stormguard up as a Catherine, you just died to Kestrel so quickly. Kestrel with that, just so much damage on that build. The piercing spear just try and pierce through any armor you might have, and Ciao 7 basically have to give away this first turret. They're 2v3.
Yeah, I mean, wow, I just can't believe that Mimius Bay almost getting that clutch for Ciao 7. Although it wasn't enough Impunity, able to get themselves a bit of an advantage here with the Kraken, and Mimius Bay might get caught out here for the meantime, but the turret shall be the prize that Impunity are looking to set their eyes on. One shot, one kill. Will connect once again onto Mimius Bay. Quart d'Ivoire super low in HP, but they have left the Kraken a little bit too uncontested there. And of course, he has been pretty good with his Solar Storms, and that's going to be the case once again. DefQ though, going to be putting some poke damage onto Sin Monster as well, DRDC, but he might pay with his life here. Nice connection onto the stun. And Sin Monster, timing with a Storm Guard will keep him alive.
Yeah, and that would just be 2 turrets for the Kraken push for Impunity. They're going to be happy with that. Generally, if you get the choke point turret down, you're normally quite happy with the Kraken push, because that turret's so important for team fights. If you can push the enemy back to their choke point and they have a turret there, you basically have to back off because they have such a strong position.
Yeah.
Impunity gonna be happy with that, and just gonna back off now. I'd like to see maybe a tension bow on Kestrel, but she might actually go for the bone saw as a last item. We haven't seen bone saw a lot at all because of the normally see Celeste looking like she might go 4 damage items. The RDC looking similarly to go 4 damage items, so they haven't got any weapon power defense for Kestrel to shred through with a bone saw. And so it's just going to be both positioning, and DevQ might be caught out.
Yeah, he uses the block, but that'll put Kirchhoff's in a very bad position. DevQ super low and is going to be taken out by the slam down of Sin Monster. Break it down once again, pushes back with the afterburner. And even though there is, we do see that the Kraken did break down 2 turrets, there is still a point wherein C7 are not far behind in terms of the overall team. Gold and Coeur d'Ivoire trying to back away once again, puts Kirchhoff in a very bad position. And Ciao 7, this might be their stride, or rather they have found their stride to maybe break down the second turret. Looks for a third, though they're going to be backing off as they are somewhat low in HP.
Yeah, Sim Monster actually used the fountain to keep himself alive because he dived on the turret and took a lot of turret shots.
Yeah.
So that they don't have fountain. I don't think Impunity know. So they're just going to pop some vision, try and set up his own vision on Kraken, who is now respawning. I'm sure Kato will have that fountain when the next team fight breaks out. Ciao 7 aren't going to look for a fight unless that fountain is available. There's a breaking point in Adagio, so these elongated team fights, the ODC, if he manages to get the poke maybe onto Coeur d'Ivoire, will really deal so much damage. Will be almost comparable against Kestrel if the ODC can get in the team fight and get some poke down as well as Celeste.
Yeah, they still have to be very careful, like you said, of Mimius Bay. He's been so good with those solar storms. And in terms of poke, nothing to be trifled with. Also, Coeur d'Ivoire way out of position here as Kirchhoff's and, well, I believe DevQ were still trying to find their positioning. They do spot out Spin Monster in a very awkward situation, and they will chip him down to very low HP, but that goes the same with Coeur d'Ivoire here. And, well, hell break loose as both teams are looking for that opening. It's going to be damage into the lane, and they see Sin Monster super low. That's going to be DevQ with the boost, looking to actually get the one last shot off, and Mimius Bay as well as the RDC will not be able to contain this guy. At least the Solar Storm does come out from Mimius Bay. A couple of Heliogenesis might be able to put this back into the hands of Ciao 7, but that's not going to be the case. One shot, one kill will miss his mark, but Coeur d'Ivoire, he knows where Mimius Bay is, but can he actually finalize it? Heliogenesis just dropped down, but DevQ, yeah, he will, he will.
He just runs in and think you're dead.
My goodness.
That is Mimius Bay playing so well on that Celeste.
Yeah.
Using the Solar Storm and the amount of sustain he got from Eve of Harvest. He went up about a third in health, doing so much damage on that Solar Storm, and just Eve of Harvest sustaining you up for more damage you do.
This
is a fighty game.
Yeah.
DevQ is trying to get the minions to take the turret. The ODC has respawned, but DevQ has too much damage on the Vayne. Nothing the ODC can do, and that is first gun going down. That is game 1 going over to Impunity.
That was just... Overall, I thought Ciao 7 weren't really in a backhand. Like, there was never really a huge amount of lead for Impunity. It was just that their positioning, and you gotta give it to DevQ for always finding the right target prioritization to be able to get Impunity that one up in almost all of the team fights that come in. But Mimius Bay was also a great Celeste for Ciao 7.
Yeah. Mimius Bay doing really well. I think the main problem from Ciao 7 was the weapon power Adagio just doesn't have comparable damage to weapon power Kestrel. They both have 4 damage items, but Kestrel is a weapon power hero. Adagio isn't. He's a crystal power or a captain who can also can play weapon, but he doesn't really work very well if he plays weapon. So I think Ciao 7 they tried to flex the Adagio, thinking that Celeste was a better pick as a crystal power hero, but maybe that wasn't the best decision for them to go weapon power Adagio, really.
That's true. And so that's going to be Impunity with the first game.
Yeah, they do take that first game. There was Echo actually picked up Enclave really early on. It's smart because if you get 2 afterbans, maybe Celeste blocks the first one, she can't block the second one. You afterban her out of position, she blocks the stun, but boots away, then you afterban her again on top of Kestrel. If Kestrel's on top of Celeste, that's an easy win for Kestrel. So it was well played from Coeur d'Ivoire, really good using the afterban to engage or to actually just run away if he got in a slightly bad position, which was something Catherine couldn't do. If Catherine got caught out, she died. If Glaive got caught out, we have to run away, and they could just wait 10 seconds for his last one to be back up, and then re-engage.
Yeah, that's true. And there was also so many points wherein I think in terms of the positioning of Ciao 7, they were always somewhat forcing themselves in these really awkward, tight angles wherein, a Celeste with the poke as well as, I believe, Kirchhoff's with the Samuel on that Malice and Verdict can just really deal, relatively, how do you say, it's free damage because, the Celeste would have to reposition and she won't be able to heal up her, hit her heliogenesis perfectly because I believe both Celeste and Samuel never really stuck together in terms of their position. They were always split apart, which kind of made it very difficult for, I think, Sin Monster to find his mark with that with the Merciless Pursuit.
Yeah, it might have made sense for Sin Monster to, as soon as he tries to get a Merciless Pursuit on Kestrel, to throw a flare on top of Kestrel immediately, like before Kestrel goes invisible, because if you try and stun Kestrel, she's going to go active camo immediately. So if you put the flare up before you even go in for the stun, then you're guaranteed to land it. If you flare Kestrel out when she's invisible, you can still see her, even though she's invisible because you've used the flare. And so then they would have got the stun on Kestrel with Catherine, maybe forced a block. And if they didn't force the block, they would have got a double stun on the core collapse, and that would have been Kestrel falling immediately. So Couch House haven't had a chance, but it's obviously they weren't in the best position from that first draft. But the second draft is ready. So without further ado, we're going to go into the draft.
The draft begins.
So they might actually just prioritize banning out the Kestrel here of Impunity if they don't want to deal with it anymore.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they do ban Kestrel. Maybe on the second phase of bans, you don't generally see a first pick Kestrel, and there are more important first bans like Grace, obviously very important, and we saw Lyra Grace in the last game, and so they might just go for the same bans again. I wouldn't be surprised if Impunity banned Grace, because obviously they banned it last game. Maybe they want to play it, so they might ban away something else. Maybe they'll ban Catherine or Sky, as you said before, so that they can either get Grace or Lyra. And it's interesting. I think they might prefer to pick Grace personally. She can go jungle as opposed to Lyra, who really is forced to go roam. But she's obviously much stronger in the captain position.
All right, so same first ban Lyra. Could follow up with the Grace or.
I don't think a Kestrel banner makes sense first ban.
Yeah.
Obviously, Impunity might just go, okay, we won basically because of Kestrel last game. Samuel did well, but Samuel got outpoked by Celeste, really. It was mainly all Kestrel, but they're going to leave the Grace open. They're going to leave Grace and Kestrel open, so if Impunity do decide to first pick Kestrel, which I don't think they should, they're going to go for Arden. That leaves Grace available. Arden's not a really good Grace counter with no stun to stun Grace out of the Divine Convention. Someone like a Catherine is fantastic at stunning Grace out of her ultimate so that she doesn't get the heal off, and then you're in a horrible position as Grace. You have no heal because you've been stunned out of it. Just a good first pick. Synergizes well with most heroes, and I'd like to see Grace picked up and then Kestrel banned away in the second ban. Ooh, we're going to go for the Finn instead. We haven't seen Finn at all, really. He's been played a couple of times, and when Finn has been played, the Kestrel ban as expected, but when Finn has been played, he's played with an Echo and a Null Wave, and the whole team comp is use up all the blocks but get off a forced accord. And so what I'd like to see from Impunity is a composition where your jungler, it makes sense for them to buy a Crucible, someone who goes tanky, someone Glaze been banned away, so that's not possible. Maybe someone like a Cruel, there's not that many heroes that actually want to go full tank. Most heroes want to go for damage and only double defense, but maybe just a bruiser, maybe a fortress, a jungle crystal fortress, someone who can build a Crucible and it works in their kit, so that you have two Crucibles on your team against this Finn. So if you build two Crucibles, you basically counter the Finn Echo Null Wave build completely, as long as your captain can reflex block the Null Wave Gauntlet. Batiste, we didn't see the last game, but he's really strong. He counters most heroes. If you need to use mobility, you're countered by Batiste, and that's a good ban.
So they might just Vox. I was actually gonna say they might just opt for something of a damage dealer before they show, I guess, their support, rather to at least have that all-around type of hero to not really show their last pick, since that is going to be kind of counterable. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like Idris against Vox. Some people think that Vox is good into Idris, but I think Idris, if played well, will just delete Vox. As soon as he gets 2-3 items,
Yeah.
you can blink in, shroud step in, and then you stay on top of Vox so easily. You can Shiver Strike if he's at Sonic Zooms away, and even though Sonic Zoom is up an awful lot, you'll burst him down before he gets 2 Sonic Zooms off. But they're actually going to go for the double damage comp. They're going to go for full mobility, and they're going to go for if Finn pulls us in, especially if Finn pulls Idris in, Idris will just jump on your carry. If Finn pulls Sky in, Sky will just Sui Strike away and you'll be fine. And so they're going to go for the mobility score. This is going to say, okay, you can pull us in, that's fine. We'll just either dive on top of your carry or we'll run away. Crystal Blackfeather, they were quite quick on picking that. They seemed quite confident that they wanted to play CP Blackfeather against this Sky. It can work well. Sky, when she's using a forward barrage, she's actually quite immobile. You know pretty much where she's going to go, so you can land on points quite easily. But I don't like CP Blackfeather with the Finn, because he's more about poke than burst. And with a Finn forced to cord, you just want to pull someone in and burst them down immediately. But it could work. Obviously, if you get a double forced accord into an on point, you're obviously going to hit both of them, maybe with a Rose Offensive as well. That will be a lot of burst damage from the CP Blackfeather, so it could work out. But I think Impunity have a really good draft if they use it well. If they don't immediately run away as soon as the forced accord lands, they actually try and engage from the Finn forced accord, then it could work out really well for them.
So right now we're going to be seeing an Arden with this. So like you said, lots of ability here, and I really like the Arden pick just because it's just gonna make this Vox in a way easily put in the gauntlet. But then at the same time, you do have the safety with the Vanguard that if they do kind of go aggressive onto either the Sky or at least if they go for the counter engage with the Idris, they're gonna be able to have at least a shield to be able to survive, because we've seen, like, I think last week there was a lot of like really clutch Arden Vanguards that just made or break a team fight, which could be good here. But then for Ciao 7, we have seen, like you said, a lot of teams not really have too much success dealing with double force accords on the Echo.
It's really hard to deal with, because you either need to, obviously your captain, unless he builds three reflex blocks, there's Crucible, Aegis and Reflex, is going to get pulled in once, but that's not a disaster. If your captain gets pulled in, he's not going to get bursted down. It's Arden. Arden's really healthy, and actually the LDC taking a lot of poke from DefQ in lane already. The Sim Monster are going to have to rotate out with that Iron God contract to try and keep the LDC alive on this box. But I think that obviously, unless DefQ and Kirchhoff use their blocks to block the force toward themselves, and then there's the Chakram damage, and Kirchhoff's rotating up the lane, the LCC is going to lose a lot of farm here. He's going to be forced under turret. But Blackfeather's taking the Elder Tree by himself, and he'll be getting that without any contest from Kirchhoff. Kirchhoff's just trying to help Idris push this wave. Idris has horrible wave clear in the early game, with obviously only with a Book of Eulogies for damage. Now the LDC going to be nice, get a little bit of health regen from that Iron God contract, and because he hasn't got Book of Eulogies, so he won't sustain from basic minions without Finn in lane. And Blackfeather actually smartly rotating straight to Sky's backs. Imia's Bay not rotating up to lane to help out, just going straight to jungle, but Kirchhoff's going to get Blackfeather's mids and fronts as well, so pretty even in the jungle.
Yeah, this lane already, like you said, DRDC is being bombarded by Impunity. Court of One, DefQ have been, well, really merciless with the pursuit that they're going onto DRDC, and that's going to pull in Sin Monster for a little bit, activates the Polite Company and the Quibble, so the DRDC, well, at least what they're trying to do right now for Ciao 7 is they're actually just putting a little bit of more of, I would say, the lane equilibrium, 2-4-2 in the lane, so that, you know, Impunity won't be able to bully out DRDC, but he's going to be going for the port or recall and at least get his items and heal back up.
Yeah, he will get to the base, but DefQ did spot it out, tried to Chakram to stop importing, which would have been really good for Idris. But I'm just going to help Idris clear this wave, and that's really good farm from DefQ on 27 already, 7 ahead of Vox, but Vox has a little bit of wave here to try and clear. Blackfeather trying to get some farm away from Kirchhoff's, but we'll spot the Kirchhoff's there, so he's just going to get his backs, and Blackfeather just being as sneaky as possible to try and try and run around Sky and get as much of his farm, as much of her farm without actually fighting. And so Vox now with some items should be alright in lane. Still not going to go for that sustain with the Book of Eulogies, as we see so many Voxes going Poison Shiv, like almost first item on Vox when it was even after it got nerfed. So he will have a little bit of trouble trying to sustain, but FQ can now clear this wave a lot quicker. Blackfeather not in lane, so DRDC gonna just back off far by the turret. He's doing well to stay sustained with this Iron Guard Finn. You know that they're going to rotate down to Blackfeather though, who could be in a bit of trouble. He doesn't know that Impunity are rotating down, but he's still going to try and secure this Elder Tree. Blackfeather with good poke, he could get in trouble.
Trouble indeed, as they do spot him out. Here's going to be Sin Monster with a 3-man Polite Company, and DRDC to actually help his comrades. Still, it's going to be, I believe that. Well, actually, he stole the trend. I did not see.
Finn got it with his quibble.
All right.
Quibbled the trend did still it. When Mumia's Bay going to shop, he knows that Impunity haven't shopped, but he did not land that on point.
Oh, that's going to be close, and that's going to be the first blood for Impunity as they punish Mumia's Bay for being a little bit too out of position there. They did chase him down, but I mean, he was low on HP, and they didn't really have DRDC to help with the damage, and Impunity shall be able to take a little bit of an advantage there. 500 gold lead, and DefQ is still bullying out DRDC 45 CS to the 40.
Yeah, definitely doing well in the lane, but obviously Mumia's Bay is actually 10 CS ahead of Kirchhoff's in the jungle, because as we said, Mumia's Bay doing really well to take as much of Sky's farm as he could. And so DRDC gonna just not port home. Actually, Idris did, and Idris can't quite pick up his sword lane. There it is. There's the 1,650. So that power spike for Idris is basically means he will beat Vox now in a 1v1. Vox he's going for the sustain build. Didn't build the Book of Eulogies, but just going straight for the Serpent's Mask. So that means he'll be fine in lane now. He'll be able to poke out Idris, and actually sustain health from that. And there's the blink from DefQ. There's a lot of damage with that Solar Blade.
Lots of damage indeed. Level 6, only up for, I believe, Kirchhoff's and the Black Feather. So at least they do have the death from above here for Impunity if they want to go aggressive. Like you said, Serpent's Mask will give DRDC some really good sustain in the lane. Even though you can see that DefQ has the damage, actually Pokemon to down like 3/4 HP, he will still be able to, as long as there's a wave, keep auto-attacking and keep himself basically topped off. Sin Monster still doesn't have the level 6, no Force Accord just yet. They might be looking for the gold miner here or just to buy items. Yeah, so that's
Fountain on
Fountain.
There's no Crucible yet on Qualifier. I think he's gonna try and get as much ambient gold as he can. Try and rush that Crucible before Finn hits level 6. There's gonna be a fight in lane. They're just gonna push the turrets.
And they pull in Quart d'Ivoire. DefQ a little bit out of position here, but they do have the mobility, like you said. Serious strike from Kirchhoff's, and he activates the forward barrage. Misses actually almost all of the shots right there. And DefQ with the Idris should be able to get away from this one, but Mumia's Bay is merciless, and he will be able to spot out. Well, it's gonna be taken, rather the Sky taken down. Quart d'Ivoire dives back in, but doesn't have the safety too much, or rather doesn't have the re-engage potential. Does have the Vanguard though, but it won't be enough. And Quart d'Ivoire, well, he can only maybe get the steal on this Crystal Sentry.
Oh, he got it. Quart d'Ivoire's gonna actually get the kill onto the DC. Ciao 7 trying to kill.
DefQ is here. Yeah, and he goes in.
He's gonna pick this up. No contest at all. Finn can't get away from that. And that was obviously Ciao 7 thinking they could take down the Crystal Sentry of Impunity, and Arden just decided to get the kill onto Vox, because the Crystal Sentry actually does a lot of damage. If you don't all focus it down immediately, because obviously Black Metal's too low to properly focus it, it's going to pretty much kill you. And the ODC found that out the hard way, and he's going to try and stop this turret, but that will be enough for him to try and zone him away.
Zone him away. Indeed, but there is no pick-off potential here for Impunity unless they go one in, all in. But the crowd controls really not going to be in their favor because Quart d'Ivoire still doesn't have the gauntlet. And like you said, it's the Crystal Sentry, man, having too much damage and pretty difficult to kill via one person.
Yeah, you really need the whole team, and you need the captain tanking it, because Vox just died so quickly to that. He was like almost full health, and after the Sentry was nothing. And then you're going to blink in, but he's 2v3.
2v3, And Ciao 7 will be able to shut down the Idris Court d'Ivoire. Still a little bit tanky there. And Ciao 7 has to be wary of Kirchhoff's from the sidelines. He doesn't have his ultimate. Actually, there you go. He does have his ultimate there. So if ever Ciao 7 goes aggressive, he can just drop it down. In order to get to be greedy enough to chase Court d'Ivoire as he is porting back into the base. Guess not. Goldmine is open for the taking, but Ciao 7 have their sights onto the turret, and they will be able to shut it down. But all that thought is Kirchhoff says no, gets the usage of the death from above, and he is dealing the damage. He's poking them down, and the chase is on. Serious strike as well with the forward barrage. She can keeping them down slowly but surely, and Death Q gets pierced by Mimia's Bay. Does have the Vanguard from Court d'Ivoire, but that's going to be Ciao 7 with an objective, and no counter objectives taken or kills by Impunity, but they might rotate to the jungle, take down the Trents, and that's going to be the case.
Yeah, the Trent taken by Blackfeather, really good, secure with his on point. But now we're going over to Impunity. It's basically been objective off objective. There's the Force Accord available for Sim Monster. He's going to try and
No, it's too slow.
Why? And Sim Monster, he's going to walk so slowly away. Get out the gauntlet.
That should be a takedown, although you can't see the damage from the Black Feather. My goodness, that was just a huge amount of poke, or rather, yeah, poke. But the Idris, with the Shroud Step and that Shimmer Strike, will be able to chase down, I believe, onto Mimia's Bay, making it the 2-for-1. But still, the Gold Miner taken by Impunity.
Yeah, it's basically been objective after objective for both teams. Impunity took the turret, then they were low, so they had to run away. And then Ciao 7 took the turret, and they were low, so they had to run away. Impunity took the gold mine, and now both teams topped off and ready for an actual team fight. And we actually haven't seen teams fight when they're even for quite a while. It's either been one team's dived to turret or the other team's dived to turret, so they've all been low on health or energy. Idris has got 3 damage items. It's a big power spike. You saw the damage on the Chakra on Mimia's Bay. Tried to turn it with an on point, but I think
just the Chakra, man.
Cordovar has got the block on the Force Cord. Will block it out. Finn obviously going to get that. Actually, not looking like he's going to go for Echo or No Wave. Looks like he's going to go for more of a Crucible, War Treads kind of build. So more of a Captain build than a Finn build. But let's see. Just going to back off. Defq going to rotate up to lane. No one wants to fight yet. It's all about Defq. Just has to dive in, basically. They're not going to win the poke war against the Crystal Blackfeather. Your Sky can try and outpoke, but it's really unlikely. So Defq just has to jump in, Shroud Step someone, burst them down, force the fountain, and then look at the man that changes touch, and fight will probably break out now.
That's going to be an offensive death from above just to take down the turret, but that's not going to be the case. Sin Monster still 30 seconds away with his Forced Accord, so Ciao 7 has to go for the old school style of initiation, which is to chase down their opponents and try to poke them to death. And that might be the case here onto Kirchhoff's, but they once again go to the poke and they got choked. So that's gonna be Impunity with an ace. This is, well, what we call the great bait, mate. Oh my goodness.
The triple kill for Defq.
Oh my
Burst
god.
down Blackfeather, and then Fox went from 100% to 0. He died in like under a second because the Sui Strike from Sky, the basics of Defq, the Chakra from Defq, that was just so much damage. I don't think Fox was ready for that. Maybe his mate wants to boost him, wants to save this Crystal Sentry. But there's the Chakra from Idris.
Oh,
They
Defq.
just can't fight. Defq's gonna,
He does have the
he's
Shimmer
gonna get
Strike,
out.
so he'll be able to use that for safety, but still won't be able to get away as Mimia's base chase is just that great. And this could be a counter ace by Ciao 7 if they can find Court d'Ivoire in the midst of it all. They know he's in the lane, and Mimia's Bay is hungry for that one more kill. Although there's gonna be the mobility for Court d'Ivoire, but man, Mini, was that a that was such a detrimental fight for Ciao 7.
Another Ciao 7 slightly overextending. They've decided to take the Crystal Sentry down, and again we see the Crystal Sentry does so much damage on you that you can't take a fight after you've taken down Sentry. You have to back away. Defq was in a bad position. He tried to Shimmer Strike onto one of his allies. You can stay invulnerable for a really long time if you stay on one of your allies, but Arden couldn't run away far enough to let Defq stay alive. So that was Mimia's Bay managing to pick up those kills. Crystal Blackfeather doing a lot of damage. He's working towards probably a Broken Myth second item, so that will really start ramping up. But we've already seen that if he lands those on points, it is a lot of damage. Maybe not on Defq, who's now got a full Aegis against Blackfeather, but on Kershaw especially, we're seeing 400 easily. Maybe actually 350, so that's A little bit of defense picked up by the infusion of Kirchhoff, so that's good. He doesn't get bursted down that quickly by back there anymore. And both teams are seeing who can win the poke war for scored. Nice block.
Nice block. Like you said, Court of War is still here, alive. Does have his gauntlet up, so that's one key ultimate here that Impunity can be able to use for their engage. And Ciao 7 is getting a little bit of free harassment. There's going to be the gauntlet stun connecting onto Mimi's Bay. He will be able to get away. I believe he used the dash to be able to get away from the kill zone of Impunity for the meantime. There's going to be a death from above, as well as the follow-up here from the Idris. And look at that from the backline. He just deals the damage. DRDC won't be able to get that finalizing kill. And Kirchhoffs as well as Cordovan might go to chase him down, but still, Deafhew to survive with the sliver of HP.
The Fountain just barely saving his life. He was almost dead. He then got a Fountain, a little bit of sustain, and then was almost dead again for another basic from Vox. I'm sure DRDC will be very annoyed that he couldn't kill Idris there. And that's the Poison Shiv on Idris, just making sure as soon as he takes minions, he'll be nice and healthy. And Impunity going to wait for a fight now. They're going to try and take out the sentry again. Are they being too greedy? They're going to get the sentry probably without contest, but Chazef wants to fight. It's going to be Simonster with full squad in 5 seconds.
5 seconds.
Low energy. I reckon they're going to go for it. Chazef wants to fight him.
Yeah, Cordovan has no key ultimates to work with for this one. Deafhew's going to try to go in, but doesn't have his Shimmer Strike anymore. Death from above will actually give a little bit of leeway here for Impunity as they try to run away or maybe outpoke C7, but you have to remember, like you said, Mimi's Bay is just that strong on point from the sidelines. He does have one charge left onto his Rose Offensive, might use it, but they decide no. Are they going to go for a gold miner here? Actually, no, 9 seconds and the Kraken should be coming up online, and Impunity don't want to give that chance. They don't want to port just back or just yet, and they will see Ciao 7 leave for the meantime.
Yeah, hopefully the Kraken awakens and she remembers too, 15 minutes in. And yeah, Finn not going for the Echo Null Wave second and third item, which we've seen pretty much exclusively on Finn. He's going for the War Treads in, which makes sense. Obviously, you want to be able to either use that War Treads aggressively or defensively to get your Idris and your Vox and your Black Feather away from the Idris who's diving in. But I still would like to see from Simonster, see a Null Wave, see an Echo, see something to try and make sure that Force Squad lands. Because if they do, it could just be so much damage from Mimi's Bay on a triple on point. If he lands all 3 members in, that's easily 1,000 damage if he gets a triple on point.
And the fight will break loose in here once again in the jungle, and Sin Monster will eat a little bit of that damage from Kirchhoffs. You did see, like you said, Force the Court, only one Force the Court without the Echo won't be really too good. And look at the Impunity. They're actually going to try to rotate from the backline. And does C7 know what's up? No. You saw Mimi's Bay was actually poking the front brush, and they got juked a little bit here by Impunity.
Good. Impunity they're in the party brush. That is the known gank. That's the best brush for ganking, really. And then Ciao 7 aren't in the best position. I think Impunity should be cautious. They're getting up from the backside.
They don't know. Watch out, Cordovoy's right here. He can actually set up for a huge 3-man gauntlet, and the damage is on. They're trying to go aggressively as possible. The Death from Above will actually take quite a bit of time to work with. Shimmer Strikes from Deafhew, and he will be able to shut down as well the Black Feather, and that's only going to be Sin Monster with the Fin, and that's going to be an ace for Impunity. Whew, that was a great strat by Impunity.
I know, it was smart. They just managed to stay out of vision range, sneak around the backside. Chelsea were like, wait, so what do we do? Do we just push the lane? Okay, I don't know why we'll just push the lane. They must have backed off to their jungle. But no, he comes to the backside, and another triple kill for Deafhew.
Oh, this should be it.
Try and finish it. I think we're trying to. No, this is going to be smart.
Oh, no. Okay. All right.
Yeah, they get 4 shots away. That's smart. Maybe it's better the DRDC both up, and that's a lot of damage. If you're trying to dive turrets and dive them, they're going to take sentry. No, it's risky. I don't think they should do it. No, they're going to back off. Just sewage strike around the sentry.
Yeah.
And take the lead. You've got a 6k gold lead. There's no need to fight when you're in a bad position. Wait until you've got that Echo up on Arden. Wait for the gauntlet, and you should just win the team fight as a 3v3. There's no point putting yourself in a bad position.
Yeah. As well as them, I guess them respecting that still, if they allow Ciao 7 to have that opening, Mimi's Bay can just rip through Kirchhoffs right here quite easily. Sin Monster will go for the Force the Cord, but again, immediately gets blocked off. So now maybe Ciao 7 are going to say, why didn't we go for the Echo? Why, Sin Monster? Kraken is up for the taking, and both teams are looking for this objective. Kirchhoff's right there with the Vanguard, gonna go aggressive, and look at that Surrey strike into the face of Mimius Bay, and he has to back away. Defq's right here, he goes for the Shroud Step, but gets stunned. Has the right timing with the Shimmer Strike, if I'm not mistaken, and that's gonna be, well, the Ardent into the front line. Kirchhoffs will be able to deal the damage, but Mimi's Bay is still alive right here, and DRDC will able to capitalize, and Defq is actually very low in HP and will be out of the fight, and that's gonna be an ace for Ciao 7.
Yeah, Defq trying to make the plays on low health. Obviously, he has that blink, give him a barrier. He has that Atlas on box to try and get that off, but didn't quite work out, and that's a really good team fight. They backed off under towards their Crystal Sentry, which is where you want to be fighting. If you don't have turrets to fight under, you want to fight under the Sentry, and they will get this Kraken uncontested.
Uncontested,
as well.
It will be taken. That's true. Although this Kraken, they have to at least get 2 turrets to offset the gold that, well, Impunity might be able to get if they kill it. And they do have the damage for it too. 4,000 gold lead as well. If you look at the gold for both teams.
That's down from about 6,000 where it was before that Kraken was taken. So lots of shutdown. Issues was 10 and 2. Now he's 10 and 3. So that's probably 600 shutdown. The forced chord obviously going to be blocked. That's just expected. But Finn, where's your echo? You need it.
You need the echo, man. And
Even
Mimi's
Arden's got one.
Yeah, double arena.
But there's so much poke from Mimius Bay that it's so Defq cannot get this Kraken except with a Chakram, because Mimius Bay will just poke him out if he tries to basic attack it.
Kirchhoff is trying to do the best that he can though, and it's going to be the Ardent to use a Gauntlet. They try to catch C7 off guard, and I think they might have just barely actually gotten a kill there onto Sin Monster with that aggressive maneuver by Court of Wall, but they have to keep this Kraken in check unless they want themselves to push us into a third game. Look at how close to destruction that turret is. I can see all white life, no more blues.
That's anything. A basic attack from Finn would have taken that turret down to dead. But yeah, that's still 2 turrets for Ciao 7. They got 2 turrets off their Kraken push. I'm sure they'll be happy with that. And getting that choke point turret again, very important. Idris actually is fully built. So the Kraken gold for him wasn't actually that useful. Obviously it will help Kirchhoff, still needing to get a Broken Mirror, still needing to build an Aegis and a 4th damage item, whatever he decides to go for.
Miss Bay wants to
gonna try and poke.
Go in.
He's gonna get out poked.
10 seconds to the Gauntlet as well though. And look at this Polite Company as well as the aggression from Impunity actually put them in a little bit of an awkward situation where they have to back away. They have to be careful that Mimi's Bay steering to the sidelines, goes in with the on point, wants to go with the aggression, but gets spotted out with the flare, and Impunity might just back away for the meantime. There is no aggressive wave pushing into their lane, so they really have to be careful from that one. 3-man on point from Mimius Bay, and look at the chip damage from DRDC, and this could be C7 to actually get back into the fight. There's still the Echo actually up for a Court of One. No, he used it already.
He got stunned out of the gauntlet.
Oh, I see. That's why.
And Defq's in the back line.
And he will go for a maneuver here that might have actually taken down Sin Monster, but DRDC has been free hitting this whole skirmish. And now they gotta back away. Unless Defq wants to go aggressive, there is at least Mimius Bay and Sin Monster very low in HP. Sentry defeated. And wow, Impunity are slowly losing grasp of this game, even though they have a 5,000 gold lead. What's happening?
Yeah, they are. It was Defq who decided to go on the back line, go around the backside, which was a really good idea. But then he went on the Finn, which wasn't a good idea. Like, obviously, Finn's got an Atlas, Finn's got so much health, so much tank, that it's just not worth trying to burst him down. If he's low, that's good. But you want to get DRDC, you want to get Mimius Bay, you want to get one of the carries, and just leave Finn alone. You can get him last, and it's not worth trying to burst Finn down. So he should have gone for the Black Feather or for the Vox. But it was a good quibble from Finn to stun out the first gauntlet from Arden, and he looks like he's actually just gonna go lots of flares. I think Sin Monster could have possibly already won the game if he'd have gone for that.
Cordova, where are your teammates? He's trying to run away as fast as he can, but gets pulled back in, I believe, by the Finns. Force the court. Kirchhoff is right here, uses the ultimate, but C7.
Where's Defq going? Where's Defq going?
Oh, is DefQ gonna go for it? Is he gonna go for it? There is one
Kershaw's
crystal
stopping the
turret
ball.
lit. Oh, can he do it? Can he stop the ports from coming in? C7 are doing it as fast as they can, but DefQ is right here. Oh no, this is so bad. DefQ gonna be going for the dirty plays. And can he actually pop the Bane? A couple more attacks? No! So freaking low. That Bane just went and go. Oh my goodness. You can just see 7 almost popping their own veins literally from how dirty DefQ wanted to break that vein open.
It was so close. It was basically
goodness.
Cordoba was in the jungle. The sentry wasn't alive, and Ciao 7 knew the sentry wasn't up because they just killed it. And so they saw DefQ in lane as he was clearing the wave, and then they saw Cordoba and thought, oh, we're 2v3. And then they chased him and went, oh, we're actually 1v3. Sky's not even here. So they just got the kill on Cordoba. He missed the block on the force to call because he was trying to get his gauntlet down, and obviously wasn't able to get that. And he's not going to be able to do this Kraken. He's hardened. And so that will be another Kraken. But again, the Vayne is exposed. I think it'll be really hard for Ciao 7 to get a lot from this Kraken push. I'd be very surprised if they don't get the first turret, considering it's one anything from death. Maybe someone breathes on it and that turret will fall once the Kraken goes in. But they have to wear the backdoor. Idris can backdoor really well. He's going to go for it. Makes sense.
Oh.
You force the port. You let Sky take the Kraken, but he might even get spotted out by the scout trap. I don't. He's going to actually try and go through. He will be spotted. There was a scout trap there, and that is Mimia's Bay and Idris here.
All the info that they needed. Mimia's Bay hot on his heels. Oh, the damage though, look at that! Is actually going to be DefQ to outmaneuver Mimia's Bay here. Nice fadeaway chakram. And, you know, that's what they call from downtown. But DRDC will be able to capitalize, get the 1-for-1 trade. And like you said, the Kraken is doing work on the on the remaining turrets here of Impunity. And my goodness, Kershaw does not have enough damage to actually chip down that Kraken. He's so tanky. What's happening here?
Sky is horrible at taking Kraken. Obviously she used to be really good. She used to be able to take Kraken with nothing, and Death and Blood would just melt it. But Sky getting some slight objective damage. They're going to go for the Vox Kraken. Should fall to the tower. Not quite. Oh, that's
20 seconds on DefQ. This is not enough time, and we are going to go to a game 3. How?
Energy of Kershaw. That was obviously a good decision to go for the backdoor on. If you weren't winning the team fights, you would just weren't winning them at all. Obviously, Vox just would destroy Idris for some reason. Vox playing extremely well there, and so they went for the backdoor, but DefQ just couldn't quite do it. He got the kill on Blackfeather, but he can't 2v1. Sorry, he can't 1v3 essentially under a Crystal Sentry. And so he got the kill on Blackfeather, couldn't get the RDC, didn't have his Shroud step up to jump over the wall. And then, obviously, Sky can't take Kraken quick enough, and Vox just push towards the base, and they got the wins. That's 1-all.
That was really something. DefQ was like what, one hit away, 1 or 2 hits away from actually getting that last shot off to destroy the Vayne.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it was
close.
So close between those two teams. And they, I think they could have tried to take a good team fight from there, but the Gauntlet from Arden didn't really do much. The ODC managed to block out one. Finn could crucible the other one, and then you're in a bad position because if Idris can't dive on top of Vox because Vox is too far away, you're just going to get bursted down. You're not going to be in a good position at all. And Blackfeather played really well. Blackfeather managed to get a lot of poke onto Sky where he generally shouldn't. Sky should be able to outpoke Blackfeather with that forward barrage. But yeah, Blackfeather doing really well. And Finn showing that you don't need to build Null Wave Echo for it to work on Finn. You can just force the Crucible with your first force to coordinate if it lands, as it did once, to stop the Gauntlet over the wall to let Ard get away. If it does land, then it just is disaster.
Yeah, maybe there is also the reason why he didn't want to go for the Echo, because if you think about it, aside from maybe the Sky, it's the Idris and the Arden who actually has to go right in your face, right? So with that in mind, all you got to do is, like you said, just force in deploy company, and then you're able to just follow up with the force the cord. Although on the other side, you just got to give it to the Black Feather for actually just stripping it down, and then Vox come late game is just that difficult to work with, or that difficult to deal with. So it looks like we are going to be able to, or we will watch a third game, guys. Or the
Yeah,
third
that'll
game
be
here.
that'll be really interesting to see what the comps are going to go, what Ciao 7 are going to decide is important. Obviously, they won that game, banning out the Kestrel, so I think it makes sense for them to do the same again. Second ban, I don't think it's worth a first ban because they're so unlikely his first pick Kestrel. There's loads of counters you can go. Catherine, obviously, Catherine didn't work in the last game, but you can go. Petal's so good against Kestrel, can expose her when she's invisible. Taka can work, but obviously they didn't have any of those heroes, so they could freely pick Kestrel knowing it wasn't going to be countered. Because obviously, if you last pick a hero, they haven't got anything else to counter it with. So I would like to see a Kestrel just banned away. Either that, or they pick it themselves. Try and make sure Impunity can't play it.
Yeah, so we are just waiting for the third game to start, and it's been a very exciting first match, best of 3 to watch. I mean, I really didn't expect Ciao 7 to, bring it against Impunity. Just like looking at how they've been performing this whole split 1, but well, at least they might be able to get 1 or 2 points.
Yeah, definitely. They've both teams have got a point so far. They'll be looking to get another one and take this series 2-1. But without further ado, the draft is ready. So we're going to go into the draft.
The draft begins.
So what do you think will they prioritize right now? Because looking at the compositions from both teams, it seems that Ciao 7, or rather, actually both teams have used poke as well as dive type of comp, so they can just actually go either way. Lyra again for our first ban.
See, the first ban on Lyra, both teams just think that she's so strong, and they both don't want to play her. They both don't want to first pick Lyra, so they're just going to ban it away. Leave Grace open. Obviously, Grace is a good healer, but Lyra, she hasn't seen any buffs really for a couple of patches. She's just fallen back in the meta, must be because teams have just realised how strong she is. Bright Bulwark countering so many heroes, the Imperial Sigil giving a heal, which is, once you build quite a few health items like Crucible, War Treads, Contraption, your heal a bit burst, like 500, 600 burst heal, which just can turn a team fight so quickly. And Grace again, we see the instant first pick Vox. Vox hasn't really got any counters. They tried to counter it with Idris, but it didn't work in the last game. So Ciao 7 going to be really comfortable first picking this Vox, knowing you tried to beat it with Idris, but it just didn't work. So try again, please.
That's true. I'm really looking forward to see I don't know if we have any Seiya players who actually use a Grump Jaw, but it actually is a nice hero to use just for that stuffed ultimate, to get for that 2v1 situation or 3v2 situation, even when you don't get a kill, just because of that one ultimate. I think teams can get an upper hand. So I'm really looking forward to at least see that one hero.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of Grump Jaw. We haven't seen a lot of emphasis on Grump Jaw in SEA.
Yeah.
Obviously, Idris is going to be picked up. They think that Idris is a good counter, probably pushing that previous game down to the Black Feather versus Sky. So they're going to be comfortable saying that Idris will be able to beat Vox as long as because obviously as Team B, you can always counterpick your jungler way better than you can in Team A. They had to first pick the Sky as kind of a flexible. She's good against most heroes, but as Team B, you can counterpick really hard their jungler because you know exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Or, unless they go for a Glaive and a Batiste, you don't know who's going to go what. Catherine ban, maybe they want to pick up Kestrel themselves because Catherine is really good against Kestrel, and so that's probably a bait to make Ciao 7 ban Kestrel, which they are going to do. Smart, because you couldn't counter it the first game, so just ban it away. There's no point trying to counter it if it didn't work in the first game.
Maybe a Glaive might be picked up here because they do have a good dive setup already with the Idris.
Yeah, Glaive works with Idris. Arden, obviously
right.
a good gives them a good barrier, and Arden's a strong captain in general. We're likely to see an Echo on the Gauntlet, maybe third, fourth item, because if you can Gauntlet twice, it just forces them to block out of the first one, and then forces them to block out the second one, which is, you force the Crucible to be used defensively, and they are going to go for the Glaive. I think Glaive Batiste would be a really good combo here to counter that Idris. Really good against the Arden, and it basically forces them to go. You can't go a full dive comp because you'll just get ordained, and they are going to go, as I said, Glaive Batiste. and they don't know where you're going to go. There's
They
a really
might-
good draft from Ciao
Yeah.
7 because Impunity don't know what do we counter. Do we counter the Crystal Glaive or do we counter the Crystal Batiste? I think they should try and counter Batiste. Obviously, Celeste is really good at countering Batiste, but
Yeah.
Celeste Idris doesn't really synergize well at all. Idris is all about dive, Celeste all about poke. So it's going to be hard because Batiste is really good against Idris. They could go for someone
Actually,
like a Scarf, someone
I
else
think
like that.
I think a Baron would be good here. I mean, oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I don't think, because the problem with that is you either go double weapon or you go
Mhm.
the off-meta Crystal Idris, and the team probably isn't very comfortable picking Crystal Idris. Playing Crystal Idris because it's not been played a lot, and so if you're not comfortable playing a hero, you're probably not going to play very well on them. They're
Yeah,
gonna
that's
pick the
true.
Scarfs. They're going to easily outpoke that Batiste if it goes Crystal, and Scarf is quite good at staying out of the afterburn range, even at level 1. Unlike someone like a Celeste who needs level 8 to get her overdriven range on Helios, Scarf has the
Yeah.
same range on all her abilities no matter what level they are. So even at level 1, level 2, Scarf could stay at far greater range than Celeste can and try and not lose the early game, but it's going to be tough. Glaive Batiste will have great gank. Idris is going to be dead in the lane if they come up to gank him, because that's an Ordained can lock him in place and afterward to get him on top of Vox. So I don't think the aggression will go Idris onto Vox this game. It will be Vox onto Idris. And so it's going to be tough for Impunity to win this early game. But if they do, they'll be in a great position. Scarf late game is amazing. Idris late game will beat Vox as long as he can block out the Ordained.
So everything really boils down to in terms of the team fights, I think everything will boil down into if the Batiste can, keep in check this Idris from diving the Vox. I mean, we've seen a lot of good fearsome shades from a lot of players. It's really easy to set up if you have the perfect time, but correct timing into it. I was really looking forward to maybe the Celeste, but Scarf would actually be pretty good with Art as well. You do have that Dragon's Breath just to add damage to the Gauntlet. If you actually trap people inside that, it could be a nice follow-up as well.
Yeah. Scarf gets a nice bit of fortified health when she channels her Dragon's Breath. You can combine that with the Ardent Vanguard. It does really well together.
Oh, that's true.
Gosham's actually going low to these minions. He's going to just be okay, get that tree in, but almost falling. I think he just didn't actually tank any of them except for this tree, and so Gosham will be fine. There's no invade for Batiste at level 1. He has to choose. He either has a good farm clear at level 1 with his Bad Mojo, or he invades to try and get a kill with his Ordained. But then he just can't clear farm at all, so Batiste really can't invade at level 1. So Gosham's going to be happy about that, but he's just going to try and basically steal this tree away and farm up as well as he can.
And while we are, right, like you said, this is game 3. I'm really curious to see how both comps work out, because it's kind of contrasting, wherein you have Ciao 7 or at least for the early game to mid game, and then come late game, it's gonna be supposedly Impunity. And just looking forward to see another, the Batiste plays coming out. And
I think I'd like to see an Echo on Batiste if he's going Crystal. If he's going Captain, you definitely like to see an Echo. It's
double
the
fearsome
Echo
shade.
It's such a good combo if you use it correctly. But on Crystal, you generally just want to go damage. You want to get your 3 damage items, and Echo isn't one of them. And so Defq's just going to try and farm this wave under turret. It will do quite well, and obviously still needs to port home and get some items so that he can actually clear waves effectively, because he's so slow. Look, the next wave is already there before he even finished clearing it. So yeah, Defq just has to get some items. Fox already managed to pick up a bit of defense and a bit of damage. And so yeah, I don't think there'll be a fight lane. He should probably just port home after he gets this wave.
Yeah, he can't really win up against the RDC right now. That's gonna be his decision to make. Although Sin Monster, he wanted to stop before it. He tried it.
That would have been
challenge.
so good for Ciao 7. If they'd have managed to stop Idris porting there, he would have probably lost quite a lot more minions, because he would have had such a poor wave clear. But now he does pick up that heavy steel, gets some minion candy as well to try and if there is a gap.
Kirchhoff's though being chased by Mimius Bay, and Quart of War did not body block for the Bad Mojo. And although Mimius Bay is kind of late with the invade, he still goes in and able to capitalize.
He still gets it, gonna pick up that mid tree and get Scarf's fronts as well. Scarf gonna rotate, get her backs before Batiste can, but that was a nice jungle invade there from Batiste. That's what he needs to do. He's really strong around this point of the game, around level 4, once he gets his level 3 bad mojo, gets a couple of items. And so he's probably going to get his jungle, pour home shot, and then maybe he'll go to the jungle shot when he spawns and just invade on Scarf. But good poke on DRDC from Kerchhoff's in lane. And so that's really where he wants to be. He wants to be able to push Vox away, let Idris farm up, and Scarf go back to the jungle, get the backs with Idris, nice ambient gold, ambient experience, so that they just get towards their late game power spikes as quickly as possible.
Quickly as possible, indeed. And curious to see what happens with our first team fight. There's I believe a 100 gold lead for Ciao 7. Not really. Sorry, so not really a lot. Yeah, nothing really.
He's now got over to Impunity once Defq gets a little bit of farm, and that was minion candy used by Defq now. So that means that they can't fight really. Vox can't fight Idris in lane, and Vox is going to have a hard time getting these minions under turret. Minion candy makes that really tough, but he's doing well. He's going to get them all, and I think Defq wants to use that minion candy to make sure that he didn't lose a CS. It's a little bit of a waste of gold, 50 gold, and Vox didn't lose any farm, and Idris didn't lose any either. But minion candy, it's not a bad idea. It's always good to have one just available, so if a fight does break out in lane, you minion candy your own minions, and they actually do a considerable amount of damage on the enemy lane if they try to fight you.
Early game, right? Yeah.
Minion candy is also really effective on the Crystal Sentry. If you manage to bring the fight to your Crystal Sentry and actually minion candy it, then the enemy team cannot fight. It's literally like having another hero. I've said before, the Sentry is like that. It's like you're fighting 4v3. But when it's minion candied, it's just so much damage, and it's actually quite healthy. It takes a long time to take the Sentry down. If you're gonna try and get a gank, maybe they're gonna try and get that. Fearsome Shade is available, but that's not really good when you try and poke under turret. So definitely you're gonna try and farm. It's there.
Is there indeed? They're trying to charge in. Quarterval was the one pushed back by Afterburners, and Sin Monster very low on HP, taking turret shots, as Defq is actually gonna back away and purchase himself, I believe, the Sorrow Blade and Weapon Infusion. So that's gonna give him a good amount of damage. Yeah.
He's got that infusion in his pocket, ready to pop whenever necessary. So that it's obviously he's only level 5 at the moment, so it's not going to use it. He's always going to be level 6 quite soon, and so as soon as the fight breaks out, he'll pop that infusion, and it will be probably worth it because he'll probably win the team fight just by having an infusion available when obviously Vox doesn't yet. Because it just with that Sorrow Blade, get Blink on his Shroud Step, really big power spike for him, means he can run away from Glaive quite quickly. Even though he can't lock out the Ordained with that Shroud Step, he'll get outside the Ordained, even though he'll be stunned. So he'll still be able to get quite far away, even if he gets Ordained by Batiste. So that's good for Idris, and he is now level 6. There's actually an infusion on Batiste as well. So when the team fight breaks out, that'll be Defq and that will be Mimia's Bay both popping their infusions ready for the fight. But Vox has got 2 items. He's got his Poison Shift Breaking Point. Idris only has 1.
Oh, the Ordained actually catching him off. Mid Shroud Step, and it looked like Ciao 7 wanted to engage, although Kerchhoff, being the Scarf that he is, will be able to provide some good amount of damage in the backline, and that's what he did. Mimia's Bay very low, throws out a couple of bad mojos just for good measure, and Sin Monster into the side. You know he wants to go and aggressive with an Afterburner, either onto Kerchhoff, more onto Kerchhoff, or maybe even onto Defq. But they are fighting under turret. Yeah. Yeah,
this is a really good time for Jezom to fight because there was a point where Mimia's Bay was level 8 and Kerchhoff was level 6. I think they spotted Batiste sporting home.
They did, but will they be able to counter, or rather get a good investment into this aggression onto DRDC? And that might be the case. Goop was dropped down, but it wasn't ignited, as Defq is spotted out here. He does have the Shroud Step. He will be able to get away. Blade Song, I believe, will almost be used by Sin Monster. Not just yet. Defq trying to run away with his comrades. And the chase is on for it. Ciao 7, bad mojo from Mimia's Bay, and they are looking on to Quarterval, very low on HP. And Defq here under the sidelines, doesn't have his Shimmer Strike anymore, and Sin Monster goes in ham onto Kerchhoff, although he went in a little bit too deep, overextended, and Quarterval might be able to drop down a gauntlet. follows up as well with the help from DefQ, but DefQ actually eats a lot of damage from Nemius Bay. They back away as that bad mojo is really, really, well, bad.
Bad. Yeah, that was 535 damage on an empowered bad mojo on Idris. DefQ's going for positive next item, can pick it up and probably will when he respawns. And he needs defense on Batiste, really. He's not going to get it, he's going to get that minion's foot, a nice guaranteed crit on his next basic attack on an enemy hero. And it's just that Batiste killed Idris with the ordained damage when he was empowered. Quarterbar, the bad position, hasn't got the Vanguard to get away, he'll be fine.
Although DefQ...
The fountain was forced by Sim Monster because DefQ did so much damage onto the RDC, and the Shroud Step is up another 5 seconds, so DefQ can engage with that now. And I think that Idris, obviously, if he gets poked out by Batiste, maybe it's Bay now level 9, because only level 8, so that's a slight level advantage for Batiste at the moment. But DefQ needs defense on Idris because the damage Idris has is so immense. When Batiste is empowered, we see that he's just
Ordain once more. Nice combo for the Ordain and Afterburner. There's gonna be a fearsome shade dodged by Impunity there, and it's not gonna look fearsome at all. Kurtos though chasing down with the Dragon's Breath, and he is just breathing fire into the face of his opponents, trying to break him down. And DefQ, pretty healthy here, does have the Vanguard looking onto Nemius Bay, and Nemius Bay will get shut down by the Shimmer Strike. He was blinded there by DefQ, and DRDC as well as Sin Monster have to back away there. They're being chased down right now by DefQ. He has blood in his eyes. Or hit rather C7. And he will
get the goal mine.
Fight to another
Smart play.
Yeah.
Smart
Let's
play.
go for the objective.
Yeah, that'll be not stolen by Sim Monster. Actually, Sim Monster, with that Void Battery, looking to get either House of Chargers or more likely going to get an Echo. Second item, it looks like on Glaive. Makes sense, Glaive. If he can get 2 afterburners, especially on Scarf, that'll be a dead little dragon.
Yeah.
Which will be sad, but.
Yeah, that was a nice combo by Nemius Bay. Like, Ordained into an Afterburner, you actually force the proc onto the second stun of the Ordained, or rather the stun of the Ordained.
Yeah, you do. You guarantee them to be stunned by the Ordained, which I think has a slightly longer stun than Afterburn, so that is good. And that's a big wave. This should be a turret probably falling, but no, there's going to be the Gauntlet to engage.
And they engage just like that. DRDC, very low in HP, has to be very careful of DefQ right now. But DefQ doesn't go aggressive. He still has his Shimmer Strike off cooldown, and now it is up. He might actually just dive into it. Uses it? No, it's just gonna be the Shroud Step into the Chakram just for the meantime. He's trying to poke them out a little bit here as he does have that damage as well. Nemius Bay right onto the sideline, and look at that bad mojo forcing in Sin Monster for the meantime as he saw DefQ very low in HP. Though you still have to be very careful because there is, I believe, the Fountain active, still ready to be activated by Court of Wall. Uses the Vanguard, but as he goes in and just repositions with Kerchops, he immediately eats a bad mojo, but that doesn't really matter for the meantime because DefQ will be able to get a rebound chakram as he dies, and that's gonna net the ace for Impunity here. Whoa.
Yeah, what a turnaround. That was DefQ just diving in, doing so much damage, getting the box pretty quickly, and Batiste just fell. And yeah, I'm so surprised that they actually managed to win the team fight already, because you would only expect Impunity to win many team fights until they get 15, 16 minutes, get really late game. Well, Idris already has 3 items though, so he's really reaching that almost full damage, because you expect 4 damage items on Idris. But against this kind of comp, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually went for double defense with an Aegis and an Atlas or a Full Metal Jacket. So he's already at that point where he does so much damage that DRDC is going to fall really quickly. Batiste obviously has a lot of sustain on his with Soul Fragments, and DRDC wants to port home. I don't think that flare quite catches him out. Nemius Bay is empowered, so they can't go in yet. Impunity don't know Vox ported home, and they don't know Batiste, so they're just going to push the wave in. And they could get a gold mine now, but they don't know where Ciao 7 are, so they're not going to risk it.
You're going to risk it for the meantime, like you said. But my goodness, you really have to give props to Impunity right there for having great positioning. Although Sin Monster is looking to go for the flank, he gets spotted out by Court of Wall and eats a chunk of damage. Ordain will get the stun onto DefQ, but DefQ does have the safety again for that Shimmer Strike. He will be able to use it in a moment's notice if ever it if ever the situation does go a little bit too sour for him. Although, look at this, Ciao 7 are gonna go for the wraparound, but Impunity knows better. They know what's up. Although they actually go aggressive, and that Fearsome Shade will force them a little bit into a very awkward situation, but Quarterball dunks down the gauntlet for the meantime, and Kerchos, oh my goodness, just goes with the Dragon's Breath, and DefQ follows up as well. My god, that was not supposed to be what happened for C7. I mean, they got a better positioning. They got off a nice Fearsome Shade, but Impunity counters in with a Gauntlet as well as a Dragon's Breath. And you know what they say, that out of the frying pan and into the fire, well, if the fire is inside the frying pan, it's going to be very painful.
Yeah, definitely. That's actually really good split objectives here. That was it, just taking the turret, taking the sentry, Scarf, and taking the gold mine, and they're all just going to port home. Maybe not Idris is like full health, even though he could take sentry by himself. That's just the damage that Idris did. He did 500 on Batiste once he just to secure the kill. And that's 4 damage items. That's the tension bow last, which is always good. Tension bow now more of an armor pierce item than a on-hit damage item. Obviously, it still has that on-hit burst damage. And DefQ is not in a good position. But he has got Shroud Step, has got Shimmer Strike, has got a Quarter Bar to keep him alive. Mimi's Bay going to get poked, try and get 3 soul fragments ready to fight. I think Mimi's Bay, you generally don't want to get defense on Batiste until you've got 2, maybe 3 items. But I think he needs to get some on this Idris because there's just too much damage. If Mimi's Bay gets dived on, DefQ can't even block the dead. He hasn't got a block. He's just gonna walk around it, I guess. He's just gonna Shimmer Strike out of the Ordained. It's really good because it stops you getting stunned.
He just has that much mobility. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Mimi's Bay here was spotted out, but Impunity actually wanted to go for a wraparound. Mimi's Bay almost face-checking a brush, but, well, he knew better. There's a lot of flares to spot out here to poke at the choke that Impunity is trying to do. They have to be wary of Kerchos for the meantime because he does have the damage, but Impunity pulls in on the trigger and actually stuns Sin Monster as well as Mimi's Bay, but oh no! What happened to the box? He is actually trying to go for the wrap, but you don't have the authority to do that. Respect my authority! But it gets counter out, my goodness.
Yeah, South Park reference there. And, that's just... Obviously, they knew where Batiste and Arden was, but that's
okay.
Going to get
This is going to be a 2-man defense from Ciao 7, but you know what? They just breathe fire into Ciao 7's ice domain. I didn't force that too much, but no! Kerchos! Sin Monster wants it! Afterburner! Does he have the chase potential? No, Quarter Boss right here. Although I don't think he has energy for another Vanguard. It could be wrong. He is hungry. He hasn't had dinner just yet, and he is looking for a meal. Although that's not going to be DRDC or Sin Monster, but that could be the Kraken. And Kraken is a pretty good meal to start off. But my goodness, Impunity playing on the nice edge, but getting so much from that.
Yeah, they're going to get that choke point tower, going to get another Crystal Century life defeated. And DefQ, he's now got his Atlas. He's now fully built. DefQ has Journey Boots, has an Atlas, and 4 damage items. So this is a really good position for Impunity to fight. DefQ isn't going to get any more items. He's not going to get any stronger unless he sells maybe his Poison Shiv. And he's going to boost towards his Arden. Arden's in a bad position.
Arden is so tanky, and look at how DefQ just destroys one-man army here for Impunity. But you know what? It's a team game. Kerchos will actually provide some support, and Cordoba re-engages with, I believe, actually he uses Gauntlet, I think.
No, he didn't.
He did not.
He used Echo on the Vanguard to keep DefQ nice and healthy. And DefQ's just carrying. DefQ's carrying too hard this game.
That's true.
Idris is really showing how he can. Why Idris is good against Vox, because he can dive in and kill him. And the fact that they've got a Scarf who counters Batiste this game means that even though we didn't win the last game, it was mainly because Black Feather beat Sky. But if you haven't got your Batiste beating Scarf, you're in a bad position. That is the 3rd Century life defeated. Century's been eliminated. I think Ciao 7 needs to take a really good fight here. He needs to get a good afterburn into good Ordained. Otherwise, it just is going to destroy you.
Yeah, that's
he
true.
wants to wall jump. He would not do it. He would not get that wall jump.
Oh, they want it. They want it. They want it so bad. They're poking from over the wall. Quarterboy is going. He doesn't even care anymore as DefQ is just solo destroying Ciao 7, they didn't even have the re-engage potential to work with on this one. Fist of Shade to come out, but I think it's just too late, and this is gonna be Impunity. They were countered on the second game, but now this is just full on out domination by Impunity, and they will keep themselves on that top score and leave Ciao 7 from way behind with still 0 points.
No, Ciao 7 did get the second game.
Oh yeah, so they will have 1 point. That's true. Well, almost 0 points. Almost 0 points.
Yeah, nearly. But I think Ciao 7 will be happy they won the
man.
second game.
That's
But they'll
true.
be slightly disappointed that they couldn't win that game, Vox versus Idris. DevQ just went 11-2. You just
Oh
showed
my
why Idris counters Vox so hard. You dive in, Vox tries to run away, but you just can't. There was so much CC for that Vox. There was a glaive afterburn. There was an ordain from Batiste. Idris didn't have a block, and he could still kill Vox. There was just a crucible from Arden on the fearsome shade, which was really good. They managed to stop. If Batiste gets that fearsome shade onto Idris, and then Idris can't run away, he's basically stunned if he does it against the wall.